Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Fuego here!
And we are doing something a little bit different today. We recently recorded our top 13 favorite horror franchises, Fuego and I. And again, that's an emphasis on favorite. That wasn't the best horror franchises. That's what we were saving for this. Now, what we are going to be doing here is a tier list ranking. These have been picking up steam across YouTube, so I thought a good way for us to do ours is by ranking the horror franchises. And in this case, we're going to be ranking the 20 horror franchises that I've chosen. They're basically 20 of the biggest horror franchises, whether in number of movies or just in popularity. So ultimately, when we tried to list them, we came up with about 160 different horror franchises. So we can technically make about 8 videos of these 20 franchises. And then ultimately, we'll have one master list ranking all of these horror franchises. So that'll be fun.
Should we have the winner of each of these, have a super playoff of sorts?
No, it's not. There's not a playoff. They're all going to be ranked as whether they're S, A, B, C, D, or E.
But maybe take all the S's and then just have a super playoff with all the S's eventually.
Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up.
This is my sports mind.
I know, really. You're trying to Final Four this shit. All right.
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing.
So, guys, it's going to be these franchises that we're ranking. So you can see we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Amityville, The Howling, Critters, Final Destination, Phantasm, Leprechaun, Friday the 13th, Puppet Master, Resident Evil, Jaws, Paranormal Activity, Chucky, Michael Myers, Halloween, aka Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Scream, Saw, Tremors, and Wrong Turn.
Oh boy.
So
we have some work ahead of us.
We do. So let's get into it, Fuego. What do you say? Are you excited for this?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to say about Amityville because I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 of those, and so
okay.
Yeah, and same.
You make your determination, and I've seen them all. So
and I mean, same with Wrong Turn. There's a couple franchises here where I do not feel as well versed, and
Wrong Turn's not on here. Oh, there it is down there.
Yeah,
okay.
And so for that reason, I'm going to have to kind of lean on your expertise, which is really kind of a bummer that I haven't.
Oh, sorry, you got to lean on my expertise. What a bummer.
No. I love this man and respect all of his insight and everything, but yeah, I mean, all that I know beyond the initial Wrong Turn is where that one chick gets cut in half.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, which is done by not Adam Green, but his protege, Joe Lynch, I want to say.
Yeah, I think
that
you're
one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, we're gonna get into it here. So what do we want to start with, Fuego?
Well, should we start with Wrong Turn then?
Yeah, why not? Since we were just talking all about it.
Yeah,
now,
there's a ton of DirecttoVideo / VOD entries in this series that I'm well aware of.
So these are all of the exact same dimension. Some look smaller, but it's because they're wider and they don't have a graphic. So Wrong Turn, I would say. Okay, so ultimately,
from what I've
seen, it's just gore and freaks killing random people that happen across them all the time.
Yeah, it has that same kind of vein of The Hills Have Eyes as far as the whole mutated Hicktaw, but just more so. I still remember when we were in Kentucky for Scarefest, we were just like, oh man, we take a wrong turn, we're gonna end up in Wrong Turn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's an F though. This is probably the C to D.
I was thinking between C and D as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards C minus. And so I'm gonna leave it in the C category, or at least that's my position, because it's lasted now 6 movies, and I believe there's a 7th going.
Yeah, that's a viable argument.
I mean, it's doing well enough. And here's the thing: I also give it massive credit for its gore because it always goes for it.
Yeah,
every movie really goes for it in the gore department. And you know how much I love gore.
Yeah, when I saw that Joe Lynch scene, and he's the guy who directed Mayhem, which we quite enjoyed with Steve. Oh goodness, last name, basically dude from Walking Dead. Why can't I think of his name?
Stephen Yeun?
Stephen Yeun. Yeah, and then it also had Samara Weaving. I like that movie quite a bit. And, he's a longtime buddy of Adam Green's and stuff. I like his directorial touch and stuff. He does not shy away from the gore either. Him and Adam are in that same vein where they like showing nasty stuff. And so...
I don't know, though. Maybe it is a D. I don't know. What would you contend?
I would say D, but then again, I haven't seen enough of the later entries to really.
They don't
say
get
one way or the
better.
other.
They don't get better.
Okay, it's
so
D. It's
okay,
D.
yeah, I
It's
think
D.
it's D.
Yeah,
All right,
let's say
so
D.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like just because I've seen them doesn't mean it's a higher tier. It's
Yeah,
it's a
I would
D.
say
It's a
if
D.
like Saw is going to be a C, Wrong Turn is a D. So yeah.
Okay, well that's a good one. Let's just jump to Saw then. I
Yeah,
mean, we
why
might
the
as
hell
well
not?
since you brought it up.
Once again, another entry that
I would
have
contend
I've
that
only
Saw
seen
is
the
a
first-
B.
I've only seen the first couple entries though.
Okay,
this
but
is,
so then I will actually contend that Saw is a B
I'm
franchise.
not big torture porn dude, so
It's
after-
not. I mean, I get that, but there's enough strong entries, and the gore is really good in basically all of them. There are some ones that fall flat. Anything that really features Detective Pouty Lips, I'm not a big fan of.
Okay.
But
That's
you know,
offhand.
well, the people that watch the movies will know. Plus, we did an entire 8 days of Halloween, so we reviewed all the movies on this channel a couple of years
with
ago. Yeah,
her
it doesn't
who
matter.
Shall not be named.
Doesn't matter who it was. So.
Shall not be named.
Yeah, so I think that, and the production value is always high. Plus, from a horror movie standpoint, they bring stuff back later in the series from the first movie and from other movies along the way.
And they keep
so
that continuity,
story-wise,
which
they
is-
keep it in continuity. So
respectful.
I say, I mean, those are traits of A and S movies, but it's not that. So I think B is as high as we can go for Saw.
Well, I would argue C for Saw, but then again, how can I really argue too much when I've only seen the first 2 films,
Yeah.
you know? And the second film is the one that really turned me off to the franchise. The scene where she's thrown into all those used needles and stuff. I was just like, ugh.
Okay.
It made me cringe, man, like
Yeah, that's a tough
legitimately. And yeah, I don't know.
Let's go to. I say let's do. I'm trying
Let's,
to get
like, keep
the
in mind
lesser
with
known
these-
ones out of the way.
Well, let's do The Howling then.
Okay, The Howling is good.
Yeah,
I mean,
The Howling is good because you've
that's
got,
old school too.
Yeah, and The Howling is one where they eventually went to werewolves versus vampires in some of those later entries,
Oof.
but boy did they get bad.
They got
Boy, did
really bad.
Honestly, nothing after.
I think The
Mars-
Howling is a C. but-
Nothing after the marsupials with the part 3
Mm-hmm.
was really good in my estimation. That was a weird Australian production, and I swear I saw the back art and some of the photos from that when I was a really little kid. I was maybe 7 or 8 at the video store, and I had legit nightmares about the birthing of weird little like creature head stuff, like legitimate screaming out of my goddamn mind nightmares.
Okay.
The fact that I remember it so distinctly shows just how tormenting and terrible it was for me. Some of those images were insane, but really the only good Howling movie is the first one with Dee Wallace.
Yeah.
I still contend
Is it
that
C, D? What are you thinking? What do you lean towards?
I'd say the original movie is a B, but I would say all of the entries,
2, I think, is good too.
Yeah.
As campy and nudity filled as it is.
And I still like 3 a little bit. 3 I would say is a C. You know, I would say The Howling is a C.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think The Howling is a
I
C.
think that's a good spot for it, especially if you're going to contend B for Saw, and we're going to obviously kind of concur on D for
I know that is a
Long-Term.
little bit rough that I'm saying the Saw franchise is better than the Halloween franchise, but keep in mind,
No,
I'm taking
Howling-
in the
Howling
entire
franchise.
Howling. Sorry, not Halloween. Yeah.
Saw is...
Saw, I mean, we're taking in mind the entire franchise and a bunch of different aspects of them all. So,
Well, the Howling
I think,
started to go direct to video, and all the
Yeah.
Saws were in theaters,
Yeah,
man. So
sure,
I think that
sure.
that's... Even though I would say just based on that data, it just
Okay.
kind of makes sense, man. So...
all right, so let's move to, let's
Leprechaun?
do...
Critters?
we can do
Amityville?
Leprechaun. I'm trying to do, let's do all the text ones first before we get to the bigger ones.
Okay.
So,
Well, Amityville is one that I'm not super familiar with either, unfortunately.
okay, we can do Amityville then.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, this is one that I have seen basically all of them. There's a couple that I haven't, like, I'm not sure. There's 1 or 2 that I just haven't been able to get on DVD because it's not available for less than like $50 or something like that.
It's in public domain, which is the weird thing about this particular franchise because it's
The
based
story
on
is,
because
yeah.
the story is based on real events, and so you can't use prior characters if you're another studio, but you can essentially just do whatever the hell you want with that mythology and just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of the '90s direct-to-videos. There's one where this kid who was trying to seduce this other girl gets sucked down a drain, which is really, I mean, that kill at least is super memorable to me.
See, I saw them all, but I saw them all when I was much younger, when I was getting them at, Video Update for $3 on a Tuesday for $1, you know what I mean?
Which is one of the
So
best
it's been
ways
like
to-
20 years since I've seen some of them, but
Yeah.
from my recollection, there's really only a couple that are worth your time. And this is one that has, I think, like 14 to 16 entries at this point.
Yeah,
when
it's
you include
actually-
everything, because so many of it gets lumped in with the franchise proper because of the public domain aspect.
Yeah, and also the fact that we had that one particular
Vanishing
group of
Point. Yeah,
filmmakers
they
where they
weren't
went
fans.
after us, those kids.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I'll bet they know better now. So what do you think? Where would you put it? I mean, the remake wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. The Ryan Reynolds one.
This is between D and F. I don't know if I'm going to give this distinction the first F, but based on...
No, it's not an F.
It's not an F, but honestly, I would contend D, dude. I really genuinely
Same as
would
Wrong
contend
Turn,
D.
huh? Okay.
Yeah,
again, when you consider the whole thing...
so many
the first one is so good, but it doesn't
even
matter
the remake
when...
with Ryan Reynolds and those abs and...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The remake wasn't scary at all.
No, it's not scary, but it was well made. It was
See, I think it's between C and D, but...
It's D, dude. It's 100%
I'll go with
D.
you on D.
It's D. Yeah, it really is. But
you guys are going to be able to give us
now that I
comments
look at
down
all these
below
other-
and let us know what you agree with and
Now
disagree
that I look
with.
at the remaining entries, I don't know what's going to end up as an F. There's
Well, that's
one,
the thing. I
there's
picked
one
some...
that's a maybe.
I picked some... Oh, yeah, there's one that's maybe for me, for sure.
Yeah. Actually, two. Two, I'd say, are maybes for F.
But
no, maybe. No.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll get to it. But
We shall.
So this is again. These are 20 of the most popular horror franchises I picked. So there might not be that many Fs in this first one. I mean, some of you guys may disagree, but keep in mind we're still grab that piece of paper that's got them all right there. The big one. No, right there. Yep. There you go.
The one, yeah.
So again, there's
Look
160.
at all these and flip it around, man.
100. It might be the lighting is too bad, but I'll try and reduce the light so you can see it.
Spin around to see the other side because the other side has all the other possibilities too.
Yeah, you can't really.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Now you can see there's that side, and then this side here. Which, guys, this is 160 different horror franchises. So trust me, there are some other ones. I mean, The Ring, The Grudge, the Psycho series, The Hills Have Eyes series, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, all that stuff. Hatchet, From Dusk Till Dawn. Those are all series, and trust me, some of those are going to be Fs.
Mimic
so
species.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
We'll get to the Fs, but for right now, we may not have any on the list. We'll see how it goes. So what's next, Fuego? You want to do...
Let's do Critters, since we
Critters?
just talked about Critters recently. You know, and Critters is a series that has kind of re-endeared itself to me. You know, I would say it's probably a C.
I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah.
I would say Critters is a C.
It's a very strong C plus though, especially
because I enjoy
Critters
watching.
2.
I can rewatch all the Critters movies and have fun with them.
Truly.
I can't do that with Wrong Turn. I can't do that with Amityville. I even can't do that with The Howling. Yeah. The Howling might ultimately be a D, honestly, but
yeah, it could easily shift into that sector.
But Critters, I totally enjoy Critters. I have fun with Critters, with the exception of a new binge. Yeah. And I'm excited for Critters Attack, honestly.
Very much so, especially with Dee Wallace returning, playing the same character, and slightly better production budget. Although with the good critter, the little blondie critter, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, a little strange. Good critter, that's true.
But dude, this is a series that I even found like fun in 3 and 4, which a lot of people hate on. 2 seems to be the general consensus.
I love 2.
Yeah, 2 is the best entry in the series.
It happens with a lot of horror movies. The second one, they get the formula just right with a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, because the first horror movie lays down the groundwork, and then the second one is where they often bring in a different director, a different writer, whatever. They have a bigger budget if it was a successful property. And they're like, we can just season this shit up, man, and we
Scream
can make
2,
it so much
Hellraiser
better.
2, Child's Play 2. I mean, all of those
Aliens,
amp up the budget.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, Aliens, Terminator 2.
Come on, man.
Resident Evil 2 definitely amped
Resident
up
Evil 2 was so much like that.
Let's do that. Let's jump to Resident
Evil 2. After no God, what the hell was it called? I can't even.
I'm not in your brain, bro. I can't tell you.
I know you're trying. It wasn't Evolution. It wasn't Aftermath. It wasn't whatever. I don't know.
One of them Resident Evil movies.
Well, no, the second one. It was the second
Apocalypse.
one. Apocalypse. That's the one. Yeah. It was the one that followed the storyline of the video game the closest, in my estimation, as opposed to just drifting off and doing their own kind of thing. They had Joe Valentine in there. They had, oh goodness, Carlos, or God, what's the name of that other character? I can't think of it. Anyway, the fact that they had, the first film irritated me so much because they tried so very hard to make it its own thing, and I just didn't like it as much. It was more of a horror film. It had a great soundtrack for Marilyn Manson, but beyond that, it just didn't. That's actually a really guilty pleasure franchise for me.
Okay.
So
where would you place it?
It's like B to C for me, honestly. For
I'll give it a C.
You would probably say a C.
I'll give it a C.
it has the Star Trek effect for me, where I felt like one was good and one was not so good, and one was good and one was not so good. You know, whereas I didn't like one very much, I thought two was great. Third, in the desert, no, I wasn't so very fond of it. But the fourth one I thought was really kick-ass, where they brought Wesker back, and you know, he realized the full extent of the bad guy that he was, and still is, I guess, to this degree. I like the CG movies, although the most recent CG movie you and I reviewed, we weren't the biggest fans of. So it's just a series that I enjoy the lore so much that I can be pretty forgiving of, you know, all of the follies of the live action series. And they're trying to reboot it right now. So, you know, I guess we will see where they end up going with it. But yes, it's not a D, even though there are some D entries, I would say. Yeah, for the most part, I felt like they kept it consistent enough to be a very strong C. It's a fun series that, even though I didn't love any of the movies particularly, I still always wanted to watch the new entry because I found them entertaining enough.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so continuing on, let's do Final Destination. What do you say?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Final Destination. Again, as a big gore fan,
this is B to C.
This is B
for me.
to me.
Yeah.
I think Final Destination is B
B.
material.
I am super down for B for this.
Because you can't give it an A. You can't give it an A, even though it's executed well, because the stories aren't all great.
Okay.
And it gets real repetitive in the middle there.
If the first two films were as good as the rest of the series, I would say A. I really would, but it's not. All of the later entries, as we lost the mythology of those initial characters and stuff, and it just basically became a meat market of destruction for all of these young kids by death and by these, you know, wacky circumstances and stuff like that. But it's so elaborately put together, and as far as set pieces go for gore and for kills, this movie does it better than just about anything, man. I mean, so, and that's why I'm glad the series is finally coming back. So it's a B for sure for me.
Definitely a B. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hit Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, I'm going to say
Did you see the World Wrestling Federation version of it that did not have Warwick?
I did. I have all of them, and I've seen them all.
Yeah,
because I bought the Leprechaun Blu-ray series. They had that going on sale before they released the new one. And then I did watch the new one, but we haven't reviewed it yet.
Yeah, I still haven't watched Leprechaun Returns.
I liked it a lot.
Leprechaun Returns is the direct sequel to the original.
To the original, with original actors.
And don't they even have, like, kind of a... like?
Don't say.
Don't they?
Don't say. Yes, but they do. It's a voice alike, but yes.
Okay.
So, anyway...
I like those first couple of movies, man.
I did too, and Lep in Space is fun too. And you like 3, the one in Vegas.
3
right?
in Vegas is the one that I saw as a kid, where he cuts the guy in half and spreads it open. You see the guts and entrails falling out. That was my first experience.
That's
with
the thing. A lot of people
cable television. I had never watched cable television before because I didn't have it as a kid, and I went over to a friend's house and we're watching. It was either Cinemax or HBO. I can't recall which, and we just happened to randomly change the channels to the third Leprechaun movie, and it was where he was sawing the guy in half, and I was maybe 11 or 12, and I was just like, they can show this kind of stuff on TV?
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
You know what's funny? It didn't occur to me until just now that, yes, there was that glut of, like, space installments of horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Leprechaun had 4. Part 4 was that. Hellraiser. Jason was in space.
Jason
there was
X.
even another part 4 that was in space too.
Critters, dude.
Critters, yeah, thank you.
Went back to space.
And then there's also, they tend to do one entry in certain series in Vegas too. Yeah. So it's pretty, because Wishmaster had a Vegas one too.
Did, yeah.
And like it's pretty funny. So actually Wishmaster is going to be on another one later. So where do you think Leprechaun belongs? I think when you include everything,
it's a C.
You think it's C?
Yeah,
I think it's C to D.
I mean, okay, you know,
do you put it on the same level as Critters and Resident Evil?
No, it's a D. It's a D.
I think Leprechaun's got to be a D.
At the end of the D.
At the end of the D,
we're gonna give it the D.
Oh, I hate you for that. All right.
No, man, and the reason we're gonna do that is because of the fact that they had the In the Hood entries, which were just so redonkulous, and that WWE produced film, which almost destroyed the franchise. You know, it was their first time recasting Warwick Davis. It went for more of a horror vibe, and everybody hated it, which is why for Leprechaun Returns they did a direct sequel, more of a fun vibe, somebody who looked a lot like Warwick to reprise the role. So yeah, it's a D, unfortunately, but it's like a D plus, man. It's a passing grade.
D
still.
plus.
Yup.
So apparently the usual tendency for these ranking tiers is that it's basically a bell curve. Like, so it's few S's, bell curve, and then few F's kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going. It seems
no
pretty on
S's,
point so far.
No A's or S's.
Well, we've been avoiding some of the A's here. So, Paranormal Activity.
I don't know if I see an A in there aside from one.
What?
There's one A that I see in there.
What?
Yeah, well,
we gonna have some words.
Actually,
son.
no. There's
we gonna have
two
some
A's
words.
There's two A's.
We gonna have some words. Is all I'm saying. Paranormal Activity. I think this is probably C range.
I've only seen the first couple entries. This is another one that
It's all over the place.
I just wasn't a big found footage fan, man, and
it went downhill.
You know, I
take a half step
know.
to your left, would you?
Okay.
Yeah, just for camera purposes.
I can certainly do that.
Just for camera purposes.
Yeah. Ghost Dimensions, was that the one that people thought took a drastic turn? And it just
no, the marked ones was the drastic
marked
turn
ones,
because that was the one that had switched to a Latino culture. So.
Which, hey man, all my Mexican homies love them some horror, especially of this variety that deals with religious aspects of, like, you know, otherworldly spirits and ghosts and stuff like that. Because I mean, Catholicism is very heavy in the Latino culture, and with good reason, I guess, you know, Catholicism and everything. But I just don't like found footage, man. And I watched the first entry, and it didn't really particularly compel me. I thought it was okay, but I know this kind of took the spot over from Saw for a number of Octobers as the thing you had to see.
It did, and it was something that I had to see. I went to every entry for a little while there because I have always been a big proponent of found footage when it's done right. And Paranormal Activity was one of the first ones to really popularize it, you know, after Blair Witch and stuff. It repopularized it in the 2000s, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's a C series, but I could be swayed to D, I suppose. It's definitely not an F.
Judgment. I mean, because like the original film that I watched, I thought was inventive and solid in its own right, especially for the micro budget that they made it on. And so, yeah, if that was the case, man, I mean, yeah, and with the longevity and with the fact that it didn't have to revert to direct-to-video, I will contend that that's a C.
Yeah.
As opposed to a D. That seems fair to me.
All right, so you want to do your favorite next? The puppets? The Puppet of the Master?
Oh, sure, because I know that I would say that's like a B or a C, and you would probably
B
say
or C?
A D to an F.
When you all include it?
And that's the tough thing. If you all, like, if you're going to go front-loaded with the Puppet Master series, I would say...
We're not. We're taking the entire franchise.
I would say a strong C, like a C+ or a B- for the first 5, and shit, if you were going to go for the first 3... I would say that's like A-, B+, because the first 3 films are very, very strong in my estimation. But it's a series that lost its way very quickly, and with Retro Puppet Master, with Curse of the Puppet Master, with all of the terrible things that they did, and then with the Axis trilogy, which is about as bare bones BS as could be. However, the one thing that maybe saves this from being a D for me is the fact that the Littlest Reich showed that there is still viability with these.
But that's 2 out of like 11 movies.
2? No, the first 5 are great, man. It's a 50-50 with this series at this point. And so, I mean, please argue away. If you think it's more than a D...
I don't think it's more than a D at all. I think a D is probably appropriate. I think D is probably where it belongs. Because, here's the thing. It was, you know, sort of, it popularized the killer puppet thing.
2 and 3 are very
2 and 3 are good, but 1 is even a a little bit weak, and the rest are all like
That's where I'll agree
4 and 5. I don't know why you're liking 4 and 5 that much because they're borderline.
And all that,
they're borderline.
That's where you could see the change in the fact
and
that they were
the weird creature and stuff. It's not. Yeah, no, I didn't get in for those.
Okay, I'll agree. 4 and 5, they were trying to sell more toys instead of anything.
Littlest Reich I did like, but man, I can't.
When good puppets go bad,
I can't say it's a C
though.
though.
Go good.
Would you really put it on the level with those though? Would you I mean, I know you would because you love Puppet Master. That's the thing.
I would put it on the level with Critters and Howling. I don't know if I would put it on the level of Resident Evil.
I can still be convinced that Howling needs to be a D, to be honest with you.
Because that's the thing. The only Puppet Master films that went to theaters were actually none of them went to theaters because the original one was supposed to, and then it ended up being direct-to-video and was this big hit on direct-to-video, which is how the series found prosperity. I will accept. You'll accept.
You'll concede that one.
Yeah, I guess I will accept.
All right, so I'll have to accept one of yours then at some point. So let's do. What do you want to do now? You want to do Phantasm and Tremors?
No, let's do one of your series.
Okay, all right, one of mine.
I'm all upset now.
Yeah. All right. Well,
let's do Tremors. Let's do
Tremors. Okay.
Nice mid-range. Yeah.
Tremors is here. So I think Tremors, when all is included. Now, are we including the TV series? I guess it's franchise, so we kind of have to.
I'd say Tremors is a C, man. I would.
I want to give it a B, but I think you're right. I think you're right, though. I think you're right. I think it is a C. Yeah. I want to give it a B, but I think it is a C. Well, but that's because I love it so much.
Well, it would have a B if it was like 1 and 2 and 5. I would say it would be a B for 1 and 2 and 5. 3 is
rough, but 4 is good too. We like 4.
Okay, and that's the Wild West one. You know,
we liked 4, so we like 4 of the 6.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I don't recall the TV series very well.
I definitely put it on the level of Final Destination and Saw, the Tremors ones. I love Tremors. I might be in the minority on that.
Once again, we're like, I mean, Tremors.
I'll defer to you. I'll defer to you on this one.
Video, you know, and
it did. I'll defer to you. I mean, I could be convinced that it's a C. So if you want to keep it C, I think most people might. Some people would probably say it's a D or an F, but I think we can meet in the middle and C on that one.
I mean, the character of Burt Gummer alone is just so much fun, and so I would contend C.
Okay.
If not for the television series and the 3rd and the 6th entry, I would say B for sure. But you know, those really drag down the series, unfortunately, and its credibility. So I would say C for sure.
So let's see if we can agree on one here.
Yeah.
Do you think we can agree on that?
It's not influential. It really is. And the 3rd entry...
Scream was absolutely influential.
It was unbelievably influential, man. And
so why did you just say it's not influential?
No, I said it's that...
Oh, I thought you said it's not influential. I was like, what?
I said it's,
okay,
it's
all right.
that influential.
Sorry, I need to turn my hearing aid up.
Yeah, and like thankfully the 3rd entry didn't destroy everybody's opinions about it, although it tainted mine mildly.
Okay.
You know, it made me kind of irritated because the 3rd film just didn't have the same wit, the same amount of just sharp quip and everything else. We have a cat.
A cat trying to eat some papers.
No,
Get out of here.
Scream is totally an A, man. Scream, it's not quite an S because of the 3rd entry, but
it's damn close though.
It isn't. This is one that might.
But again, franchise, we have to include the TV series.
So it's an A.
So it's an A. It's an A because that's not great.
Yeah, because I watched a couple episodes. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of the TV series, and while everyone told me, yourself and Marcia included, that the second season
was okay.
Was a lot better.
Yeah. First season was rough.
Yeah, if you're gonna if it's that same property, oh god, man, 1 and 2 and 4 are so good. 2 and 4 especially. As much as I love 1, I might even like 4 better than 1 in some ways because of the fact that it had so much commentary about just the horror genre in general, about remakes and stuff, and it's really the right film at the right time, and the fact that that was such a hot trend in film at the time, and the fact that everybody was so about filming themselves and live streaming, and it was just the onset of that culture becoming so prevalent, and the fact that the Culkin character was so about doing that.
Yep.
I love Scream 4. Damn, do I love Scream 4. It is so good, dude.
All right, so what next? Should we do a couple of these other big ones that we might agree on?
Or should we just get Phantasm out of the way?
Do you want to get Phantasm out of the way?
I mean, well, because everything else is super iconic.
Here's the thing. I'll contend... Here's where I would put
This is a B.
Okay, all right, we agree.
Yeah.
We agree on a B.
Phantasm is a B.
We agree on a B.
Yeah.
I would actually contend that it might be C, but I was going to settle on a B.
Okay.
Because, but 5 is so bad.
5 is so bad, which is what really...
But that's the thing. Even without 5, I don't think it would be an A. That's why I think it might be a C, because with 5, it's got to go down.
No, this one, we have to fill out the B's.
But it's okay. No, we don't need to fill out anything. This is how we feel about it. Trust me, we have 140 more franchises to go through. We'll get through it, but I can see a B here.
Even as much as I would say Phantasm 1 and 2 are A's for me, Phantasm 3, which I know ironically is your favorite of the series, I do not like Phantasm 3 very much, and I do not like Phantasm 5 very much, but 4 has all the callbacks to 1, which are so great, and 2 is so good. 3 is the goofiest of the series.
But 3 is the hardcore horror fan.
With the little kid and the black chick who's like super badass.
Yeah, dude, I like that.
It's silly, but...
Okay. All right, so we agree on B, though.
Yes, B is definitely the best spot for this, because A is considered by many to be one of the most haunting and underrated 70s horror films, and then
it is,
and then Phantasm 2 is like, it's the Aliens Terminator 2 of the franchise. It's so good.
So let's do the. Do we want to save the big five for last? And let's do Jaws next.
Let's get Jaws out of the way.
So Jaws again,
is
as a franchise, I
is
think
a
B. I think B works.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Because I think
one is so good that if it was just one, it's an S. Obviously.
And yet I contend
S plus.
I contend 2 and 4 are actually very strong films.
That's why I'm.
3 is really the only one. The one at SeaWorld is the only one. And the 3D and all the silliness of that. 3 is the only one that doesn't work for me.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Don't like. It's definitely
the hatred for 3 and 4 is
4
so strong.
4 does not deserve the hatred. Specifically,
I really like 4.
Dude, 4 is the first one I ever saw. Like after I'd grown up.
Yes, and it's stupid that the shark follows them into the Bahamas,
oh,
but
whatever.
That aside, everything else is great. Her dream when she's in the middle of the blue water by herself, and it's that eerie that.
Well, and the fact that it's still the
score.
Same, it's still the same woman
it's so
from,
creepy.
It's the same woman from the original Jaws.
Yeah. It's Lorraine Gary. Yeah. But it's that is so good, and she tries to swim back, and then she gets attacked in this crystal blue water, which was scary to me because I'm scared of water I can't see to the bottom of. I always wanted to go to the Bahamas because I can see in that water, so I can see if a shark is approaching me and get ready to like punch that mother right in the face. You know what I mean?
Right in the nose.
So yeah, exactly. Well, nose is on his face.
Yeah.
So nonetheless. Oh no, okay, I'm still good on my. So anyway, yeah, Jaws is a B. All right.
Yeah, Jaws is definitely a B, and I would contend that like rewatch The Revenge Man because that scene at the beginning where the son has like the hand ripped off and they're singing the Christmas Carol stuff, and that scene disturbs me massively, as does the banana boat bit, man. There's
the banana boat's great.
There's a couple really it's the first Jaws to be PG-13, and with good reason. I would say I borderline love Jaws: The Revenge, despite all the stupidity of the different edits with whether Michael Caine dies or not and Mirror of Peoples and all that stuff. It's a good movie, man.
So I contend that these are the top 6 most popular horror franchises right
Absolutely.
here that we have left.
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%.
So let's get them done, Fuego. Now, I say we start with Halloween.
Okay.
You sound worried.
Highly.
You sound worried. Okay. So, when all is taken into effect, all the franchise stuff included, I'm not going to include comics, we'll just include film and TV, but I think Halloween is a B.
It's B to C for me.
Okay, B to C. We got to give it a B then.
Yeah, I guess
because it is horror royalty.
Well, and if we're including Season of the Witch, then it's definitely a B in my estimation because that is part of the franchise, so to speak. And a
lot of people love that though. Like Cody, if he watches this, he'll be like, 3 fucking makes it an S. You know, like there's some people that ride or die by Halloween 3.
I'm actually one of those people, and another one who is, as I had no idea about until I sat in on Monty's panel, Rebecca McKendry from Blumhouse and from now Fangoria. You know, she was like, she contended that she thought the 3rd film is the most rewatchable of the entire franchise, and I would actually really agree with that sentiment. I think she's totally right.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
And the Rob Zombie stuff, I don't mind. I actually like.
I don't like 2 at all, but the first one is good.
2 is where they went really into the white trashiness with your favorite Scout. I just always remember where Marcia in the group thread was like, oh, Cecil, your favorite's gonna be there. Scout Taylor Compton, Scout.
Yep, Scout. All right, so let's do Hellraiser next.
Okay, and this is another one where I haven't watched past 4, so I don't have as much insight to impart.
Keeping in mind all the franchise.
For that,
I think Hellraiser's a B. Because I like 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 4. I like the first 4.
2 is fantastic.
2 is fantastic. I like 2 better than 1.
Legitimately, yes, 2 is much better than 1. 2 is, and that's not the one.
I would say it's A to B, except those later entries drag it to a B, and some people would say it drags to a C.
No, I would say.
But I'm going to give it
B.
B.
No, I would say it's a B. I would concur with you there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and also the fact that you have like the Scarlet, what is it? The Scarlet Tapes or the Scarlet Letters or whatever.
Scarlet Gospels.
The Scarlet Gospels. Man, I just cannot get.
You can't get that title right.
I cannot get that.
I'm still looking forward to listening to that. I have that on my Audible for the last 3 months or so. Yeah. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, just based on how good the first 2 are and how enjoyable 3 and 4 were for me. Even if the last half were that bad, I'm not going to give the Puppet Master thing because of the fact that these were theatrical releases, the fact that as iconic as Puppet Master and, Blade and Six Shooter and Torch and Jester and all of them may be for me, Pinhead is much more iconic in just the public consciousness, in the zeitgeist, as you all too often say. And so, yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's a B. That's a B.
All right, so let's do Leatherface.
Yeah, I'd say Leatherface is behind
Texas Chainsaw, yeah. So, Leatherface... Leatherface, I'm tempted to say A. See, I was going to say A, B. I could be convinced for B. Are you saying B, C? Because if so, then we land in B.
I guess it would be B then, for that sheer fact. I mean, man, and then when I look at Ghostface being up there as an A with all these
he
other
does
iconic
belong.
things,
There's less weak stuff in that.
Yeah, that's true.
There is. That's a solid pretty much through the whole way, except for 3.
That's the thing. I haven't seen the most recent one with Stephen Dorff. But I actually did like, from what I remember, the New Generation, which brought back the original writer to direct, if I remember correctly. 1 is very, very influential and very solid. 2 is even better. 2 is funnier, gorier, crazier, bigger set design, and 3, that's the one that we're about to rewatch. But the remake messed me up as a kid seeing it in theaters, because of the fact that it was that much more visceral. The rock salt on the chopped off leg, the hook. I mean, it was very well shot. Yeah, I guess it's a B, man, because it's based on true events, based on all the Ed Gein stuff, and yeah, it's not going to slide based on. I'd say there's more solid entries than weak entries in this franchise compared to Hellraiser, where there's about as many weak entries, and some of the other franchises here where there's more weak entries than good ones. So yeah, I guess Leatherface, yeah, you deserve to be in the B bracket, sir.
All right, so let's do Chucky, and we'll leave Freddy versus Jason for the
Jason
end.
at the very end, huh? All right.
So Chucky,
I know you're gonna want to put this as an A.
I do want to put it as an A, but I actually wouldn't put it at an A. I would put it at a B as well.
Yeah,
because I think that there's too much weakness in the series at this point. I love 1 through 4, frankly.
I don't like 3 very much,
I love
and
3.
I don't like Seed.
Screw you. Don't care.
I don't like Seed very much.
That's why I said 1 through 4, not 1 through 5. No, I
4
like 1 through 4 a
2
lot.
and 4
I love 1 through
really,
4.
I mean, Bride and 2 contend for my favorite spot all too often. And even though you weren't the biggest fan of kind of the whack-ass, nasty insanity of the most recent entry, I actually really liked it. I felt like it was more of a callback to Bride and Seed was the most recent one.
Yeah, well, that's why I wasn't the biggest fan of Cult. I like Curse better than Cult, because Curse was more of a callback to the first one, and I liked that.
Yeah,
I thought that was neat.
Curse was slow and just kind of boring and plotting in my estimation. Yeah. But, hey, just the iconic nature of what Dorff did with this character, it has to be a B. It can't go any further than that, or any lower than that. So yeah, I guess that's a fair entry spot.
So
there's only one other that's going to end up as an A. The other guy.
I disagree.
Really? Would you?
I say Jason's an A, and I say Freddy's an S.
I'm actually fine with Freddy being an S.
Freddy
is an S.
I think he deserves an S.
The most creative, the most frightening.
Only 1 weak entry. Well, maybe 2 if you include the remake. But Freddy's Dead and the remake. Everything else is eminently watchable. Over and over and over again.
Good call here, man. Yeah, he's the only one who deserves the S.
He does.
He does, yeah.
Jason, again, Jason I think is an A, although I could be convinced he's a B too, but I think he's an A because all of his movies are at least entertaining. Again, because you're just waiting to see how Big Bad Jason kills them all. The only one I don't like is 5 because it's not actually him.
And 5 even has some of the cool kills, though.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's something redeemable in almost
really nice
all of his movies.
So, I mean,
Jason Takes Manhattan is bad, but the punching the head off alone is awesome enough. And there's a lot of cool kills.
Doesn't even have Jason, and yet it has the kill at the beginning. I
still like it.
With the couple having sex in the tent, which is the pole, the pole.
Yeah, it's the homage to the first one. With Kevin Bacon and stuff in the bed. And he's done that before too. I think it's an A.
I actually really like Jason Goes to Hell.
I think there's enough good stuff that you can enjoy in these movies. Again, I think, and I also think that Halloween might be an A for the same reason.
No, Halloween
I'm okay with being a B. Jason, I think, belongs at an A.
Yeah, Halloween is definitely not an A in my my estimation. But Jason, I would say, I mean, Jason, the one thing that somebody said at one of the panels that I saw, and I think it was another of the ones that Monty did with, Rebecca and those peeps, was that they're like, okay, Jason and Michael don't really employ the most interesting weapons a lot of the time, but
right.
Jason's kills have more personality.
Yes.
And, he picks up somebody in a sleeping bag, and Michael does not do anything of that nature. Michael's kills are never very
the most he stabs and raises up into the air. That's the most he does.
And that's why, sorry, Lee.
That's it.
I don't particularly like Michael Myers as a serial killer, and a lot of people feel like when they got into the fact that he was otherworldly, he was superhuman, all this other stuff, he's not just the grown-up kid next door who went nuts. When they changed the mythology over time, it became less interesting, less scary, it became more run-of-the-mill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's really what endeared the franchise to people with the original entry initially. And I guess the same could be said for Jason, but it works so much with Jason because of the fact that, Crystal Lake is something even bigger than, just him. And so, yeah, there's creative enough kills in the Friday franchise where I'm okay with he being an A. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the Jason in space with the head on the flippin'.
Yeah,
like,
the in the ice and then the smash. Yeah, no, I like Jason in Space a lot. Yeah. Jason X.
Jason X is great.
I enjoy that movie. That's why I think, again, you don't have to argue with. I don't disagree. I think it's
Freddy is the sole S. I think you're
Freddy
right about
is the
this.
sole S that we've gotten to so far.
I'm actually, as I look at this, I'm very okay with this.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
I think I am too. I think.
If
it were mine,
hurts my heart just a little bit.
If it were mine, I might raise Chucky up to an A, and I'd raise Tremors up to a B. But outside of that, I think, and I'd lower Phantasm to a C. But because we're doing it together, I think this is what we got to compromise with.
You.
So yeah, Well, there you go, guys. That is part 1 of our horror franchise tier list.
I'm stoked for more of these, actually.
I am too. This was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
I
was holding off on this. I almost did it by myself. We've been filming together for we've been together 12 hours at this point. A little bit more, so.
And many years as well. So.
Yeah, so, but this was fun, right? The fact that we can be at the end of our time together today, 12 hours later, and be having as much fun as we did doing this, it means this is a good thing to do. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw down the challenge. I purposely saved the Photoshop file with the original graphic and all of these original things. I challenge Lee and Cody and CP. And I actually would like to see a couple of other people, including Dave McCrae, maybe... I want to see the Wolfman's Got Nards. I'd like to see him do it. Just to shout out some other channels. Anyone that's willing to do this, I would love to see your ranking. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be in it for the whole 160 franchises, but this is a great first 20 to start with.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, who else could we shout out that I'm thinking of? I mean, maybe Reanimator, maybe.
As long as she's not mad about Brian, sure.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, hey,
they're pretty close, so I don't know.
I don't know all the YouTube politics, man.
Well, nonetheless,
Dino, but I think
Dino
had
I don't know if he cares enough to go to all the trouble of doing the Photoshop and stuff like that. I don't know. If so, I would love to see his thoughts. So yeah. Why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below, where do you differ from us? Do you agree with our ranking? Where do you disagree? Where would you shift things around? Let us know in those comments down below. This is going to be a fun comment section. Did you enjoy this episode? Do you want to see more? Are you looking forward to the next 20 franchises?
Would you like to know more?
Yeah, let us know in those comments. While you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, click that like button and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to see more videos, and make sure you don't miss the next episode of the tier ranking list of the horror franchises. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Fuego.
And remember, stay scared. Thank you to our patrons.
Love ya.